Hey friends, we're going to talk about some mission stuff. When you find yourself in your twin flame union, you will become aware that there is a pulsating heart there that wants to share this divine love that it is all about. And you will start to do that when you are in harmonious twin flame union. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it can be so helpful to already start to feel, to put your feelers in that direction of where this mission is in your heart in the first place, right? I know I was throwing an invisible something in that direction, but it's actually on your inside, right, that it really takes place. And it can be so helpful to already start to have your feelers out for what that really is for you in your union, early in the journey or wherever in the journey you currently are, because it is this wildly and widely unknown secret pillar that helps you greatly on the twin flame journey to come into union in the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union that is in the first place, and then you start to build from that. That is how I teach it, that is how I pass it on, because that's how I do it. So we have a topic around this mission thing, and that is the gap between the societal work and the spiritual work in my life, as an example for what you might expect. It is true that the mission that you will find there is eventually going to lead you to work, which also brings in money, which is really in the direction of, what you're doing now every day. So you will be doing it every day, or however many days you would like to work. It will be something that is so deeply connected into your heart and being that you feel it 24/7, the whole year long, 365 days a year. That's the time that it feels close to you, that you embody it, right? But it needs to start with only feeling it in the heart. Only in your beingness. So you start with your being, and maybe further down the line, it is going to, let's say, eat. It's going to eat your entire practical life and your work life as well. Or that's at least the potential. But it doesn't start there. It starts very silently and meditationally in your heart as a love that you receive, and that starts to become so big inside of your heart that it starts to want to share itself. And that starts to happen automatically because you just exude it to your surrounding, it's a vibration. And people that are standing next to you, or let's say your neighbor, so to speak, they can start to feel it. And that's the first indication that it starts to work for you. And that is maybe needing for you some time before it starts to grow into something that over time later on is maybe your entire work life and your entire money life, etc. There is some growth there. And well, maybe that takes longer and maybe that takes shorter. You cannot really say that. And at the end of the day, the spiritual journey is foundational in this element, in this development, as well as with everything. And that means that essentially time doesn't exist. So how about that? So eventually you'll be so immersed in this heart development that you won't even feel that the time really passed. And it doesn't really matter. And when you arrive, when it does take over your entire work life, for instance, if you want that, and your entire money needs and necessities and your money life, who knows, that is here for you. And when you will finally arrive there, it won't feel like you're too late or that it took so long. That won't be a thing. It will be perfect for you. Of course, when you follow this idea of mission and go to harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, and follow that development of building that comes afterwards, etc., in this same vein, in this same journey as well, under the guide of guidance of a true teacher, with the context of the correct working spiritual community and stuff, because you need to be in that atmosphere to really develop it correctly and whatnot. But what I just wanted to sort of point out is that however short or long it may take for you, many people will experience some sort of a gap, and that's the topic of this video. This some sort of a gap can often be experienced because after taking some strides on this mission thing and starting to feel your heart, and also making strides on the twin flame journey, which sort of goes parallel to it, right? It comes together in a sense, but you might also be able to distinguish both topics, and that's very practical to do that as well. I do that because there are different solutions that can be developmentally fitting for both topics on different times, and there are different solutions, etc. So yeah, that's how I would say it, that there is a mission department and a union department, but they're actually one. It's all happening in one journey, and it's all happening in you. But many people, after having some first strides in that might be successful, and your heart starts to open to the level of union that we're talking about, or the ascended level, or the gold consciousness level, however you want to say it, they start to realize that things that were in their work life, how they lived before, how they did life before, start to feel less fitting. But they're also not yet in that, having fully developed this mission, having fully developed harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, having fully developed this relationship with their true twin flame and build it up after this consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union has reached them, and then also develop the mission to such a degree that it is really something that has eaten your entire work and money life. And fills in all that necessity and joy there, right? In a manifested way. You're not there yet. So that is sort of the gap. You start to feel like this doesn't fit anymore. How I deal with society and how my old job was, and I don't really feel like that is my thing. I just do it for the money, but that's it, or something, And then further on, like the place where you see yourself being fully immersed in your mission, twin flame mission, as your complete money and work life. And there is the sort of gap presenting itself. And that happened to me too. And that was a gap for me. It was around, more than a couple of years. It was, I don't know, depending on how you want to define it. But right now I'm thinking about it that it took a little bit over a decade. Well, sort of a decade for me. Well, I wanted to, of course, make a lot come true. I wanted to transform a whole lot, tremendously deep transformations, because my soul had the desire to meet the Christ Masters, and that all came true, and I realized an important element that I was destined to contribute to, etc. And I got a lot of initiations, and that all contributed to the fact that I'm the teacher that can help you in this regard right now. That's how this all came into being, that I can assist you. For you, that might not necessarily be such an elaborate journey of all kinds of deep initiations, but still, it could take a couple of months to a couple of years before that has all been clarified for you. And that is still, I mean to say that within the context of you fully investing in your journey, mission, and union together with how we teach it here. It might still take you some months to some years to really figure all of this out. So there would still be a gap. And for me, that was a gap in which Well, there was actually a long, wound out process of letting go of what it was not. And I also, in the beginning, started to, try to get an idea in my brain of what my mission would be, and then start to implement that in the structures that I already had standing, that were societal and that were, yeah, like with my ego personality thought out. And I started to try to put that mission inside of that. And that led to a whole series of experiments that were very good that I did them, because I learned so much through them. But I also learned a lot about that it doesn't really work like that. So you could cut your thing short and not try to do that. That could be a thing that you might be doing, because it is actually, although it is still sort of the same what I meant back then and how it is now that it's all resolved for me, that is not entirely how it works, because it doesn't work in a way that is like, let me, with my brain, think about how it should be and then put it in how I was functioning before. It is more something that bubbles up inside of you, in your inner work, in your inner life, in your relationship with your source. And that's where it needs to marinate quite a bit. And then it might come out first in ways that is not that societal, not that logic, not that brain oriented. And it might come out in ways that first seem like just helping people. And it might first come out like, even before that, like helping yourself. And then extending that. And then when that is developed, maybe you want to support yourself by implementing business structures in a holistic way as well, not in the only old-fashioned personality ego way, because that won't work. It's like not flexible enough for it. Because what I encountered was that when I was doing that, it was like taking it with my brain and trying to implement it in societal things that I was already doing, that people didn't understand what it was about. It was attracting the wrong people. Society did not always react that well to it, to the degree that I was rejected a lot and told that I was crazy. Even though I actually bring the whole context and content, both, for not being crazy anymore, go beyond the crazy society, right? The not twin flame part of society and family life and all these things. But that was just some sort of going right against what society was doing and thinking. And, it was this whole period in which that took place, that it didn't really work like this. And that people for whom it was, they just came to me, and I don't know how, And then later on, I started to see that I really should give this some trust and faith and time. And to keep on accepting where the money could come from to sustain me. But also trusting that it would be there and would remain here, and then allowing it to bubble up. And starting to work from this entirely different source inside of me. And eventually I did that. And that's where we're now. And because I know it might take you some time to wiggle your way out of society's prison and start to bloom in what you, as a wild flower, in union with mission, actually are, that is actually what I want you to understand, that I foresee for you already. Which also means that I actually open my doors to make this gap easier for you or go away. Please keep, if you need, your support while you move through it. And your support is maybe your money job. Maybe you even need to find one to truly support yourself through this period. Or other opportunities through which you can sustain yourself. Keep on accepting them. Because that means that you can invest in the true coaching that you need to move through all this. Which I always also did, so don't get me wrong, right? And what I want to advise you more is that, and here it comes, I foresee this period for you, and that's why I invite people also to come to me to start to learn to become a coach with me, with the tools that we have here, the true Twin Flame Mission and Twin Flame Union tools. Become a coach with the body of work that I stand for, that I have made come true and proven that it works for people on this journey. And there will come in the near future more and more openings with me to start to learn for how to become a professional too in this realm, which is again an investment that you can do, but it is also the solution. Because here we can truly see what your soul is as a kind of person, what your mission in your union truly is, how we can make that fit with truly satisfying work that you can do, and how you can start to bloom in your way of operating in life, not via the prison that society presented you with, but in a free way that seamlessly fits with your mission and your place in your mission, because you do it together, your place in your union of your true twin flame union, right? And that's what I would like to bring forward as a solution. And of course, you can always start to get coaching for any development of your mission. Become a coach with us or not. Because this coaching that I can provide you will understand that there will be this gap and that you can anticipate that you need to some sort of make it to the other side. And that is the sort of business coaching, you could call it, that I can provide for you. That is different than other people because they, well, first of all, they never take into account that this gap is going to happen. But when you come to me for that, I understand. And we can make that work for you in my guidance. So that's another way. Well, but first, you can, did you know that, get to know more about what the mission is, how it starts in your heart. Get a sense, a taste of what it truly is for you. And start to have a grasp on what it means to support yourself in this endeavor. And that you can do very shortly after this video came out in this special weekend that I organize on the first weekend of July in 2024. It is the Twin Flame Mission Workshop online. And you are invited to take part because you will get so much more clarity about all of this for yourself in your unique feeling atmosphere, and how to translate that into words and in full clarity and in fully knowing how to support yourself too. Take the opportunity to come learn more about what mission is for you, and go to the link in the description box and in the pinned comment, that you see there that goes to the webpage where the explanation is about the Twin Flame Mission Weekend, and you can buy your ticket as well. So if you have questions about that, I mean, don't forget that you can just on social media, on Facebook or on Instagram, for instance, simply ask me some questions, right? I would be happy to answer that, and I would be really happy to welcome you in the Twin Flame Mission workshop. See you there. And I will also see you in the next video that will pop up here in a couple of seconds, and I think it's very helpful to see after this one as well. And I will see you soon. Much love from Petra.